Hey guys, welcome back to Shona Land, and in this video I'll be teaching you everything you need to know about the Shona cultural kitchen. Okay, so kitchen, when we translate this word to Shona, it's imba yokubikira. Imba yokubikira. So the Shona cultural kitchen is mostly found in the rural areas in Zimbabwe. That's where you find, as you can see from these images, you mostly find these kind of buildings or these kind of structures in the rural areas. So if it's the one that they use for cooking, it's called imba yokubikira. Okay, so now I'll teach you the features or the things that you find inside a Shona cultural kitchen. So to start, I'm going to start with the stove. In Shona, it's called Choto. Choto. That's equivalent to the modern day stoves. Okay, so from the images you can see here, we've got an inbuilt stove, sort of. So this one is built when it's actually, you see it's actually built in, so that's below there, that's where they put the firewood to light up the stove. So this one is the inbuilt stove. That's why here it says Choto chekuvakira. It's an inbuilt stove, yeah. And this one is not an inbuilt one. It's actually brought in after the kitchen has been built. So this one is a Choto, and this one is a Choto as well, but this one is inbuilt. So Choto is equivalent to the modern day stoves that people use to cook. Okay, so the next feature that I'm going to teach you about is the feature that is equivalent to a kitchen unit inside the Shona cultural kitchen. Okay, so as you can see in this area, this part with the plates and some other utensils, which is at the top part here, you can see there's some knives, some plates there, all the cups and all the other things, they are placed inside. So this is the part which is called the kitchen unit. So this part is called Sara palana. Sara palana. Specifically, this part inside a Shona cultural kitchen is called Sara palana, which is where they place the plates, the spoons, the cups, all the smaller utensils. This is where they are placed. It's called Sara palana. Okay. The next part that I'm going to teach you about, it's called rukuva. So rukuva is the lower part, or I can say the lower part of the kitchen unit. This is where the bigger utensils or the bigger kitchen equipment is placed. As you can see here, we've got the pots, the basins there, the water buckets. So, but mainly this part is the part which is called rukuva. Rukuva. This is where they store the bigger utensils, the teapots, the pots, the basins, etc. Okay, it's called rukuva. Rukuva. Okay, so it's actually part of the Sara palana or the kitchen unit, but it has a specific name. This lower part of the Sara palana, it's called rukuva. Okay, going forward, the next part that I'm going to teach you about is called Motorero. Motorero or Motorero. Motorero or Motorero. So this is the part where, which is this part which is on top of the stove, the Choto. It's sort of like a wooden bar that hangs on top of Choto, and this is the part where most food materials is preserved. Mostly meat is hanged there, such that when they are doing their cooking, the smoke will help to dry the meat and keep it edible for quite some time. So this part is called Motorero. So whenever you visit a Shona cultural kitchen, it always has this. Usually it's a wooden bar that runs across the kitchen, but you mostly on above the stove, which is the Choto. So that's why most of these stoves or Choto are placed in the middle of the kitchen, such that the Motorero bar runs across over the stove. So whenever they cook, the smoke that comes from the fire, it will help to dry all the food that will be preserved, that will be hanged on the Motorero here. Okay, I hope it makes sense. So Motorero is made, I can say it's equivalent to the modern day fridge, if I can say it that way. But it's used to preserve, to hang the food that they want to preserve so that it lasts longer, usually meat. Okay, let's continue. Here, the next part that I'm going to teach you about is chigara makomucha. This is the men's seat inside the Shona cultural kitchen. As you can see, it's actually this part, which is like a bench, but an inbuilt bench. Or this part, you can see here. So this is the men's seat. So inside the Shona cultural kitchen, the men sit on an elevated place, which is this, and it's called chigara makomucha. And women sit directly on the floor, usually on a mat, which we call bonde. But this is called gara makomucha, which is the men's sit inside the Shona cultural kitchen. Going forward, the last thing that I'm going to teach you about is called dara, which is the dishwashing place. So it's also part of the Shona cultural kitchen, but it's outside. This is where the dishes are done. All the cleaning of the dishes and everything are done there, and the dishes are left there to dry as well. So it's called dara. In this picture, you can see is this structure which is outside. As you can see, the plates that have been washed are hanging there and are left to dry so that the sun dries them. And then when they're dry, they are taken into the Shona cultural kitchen and put back into the sarapawana, which is that kitchen unit, or on the rukuva, where the bigger pots and utensils are placed. So thank you guys. This brings us to the end of this video. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to leave a comment, to like our videos, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. See you in the next one. Ndatenda.